Hey there, this is Carl Groves of Tenon.io, answering a video question. So we got a question from a user who wants to be able to test pages that are behind a login. That's actually a pretty interesting challenge for any accessibility tool, and a lot of ways what's required is that you have some sort of way to script that. And that's because logins can be any sort of thing where it could be a homegrown login, or it could be realm authentication, or require some sort of access to something like Active Directory. The many ways that people have for authentication are pretty challenging. One way, and actually the way that we think is probably the best way of handling that, is using Selenium. And so using Selenium, you can script it so that the entire test script does everything. It does all the interactions, including the necessary interactions for logging in, and then we'll also submit the markup to Tenon to test. Unfortunately, in this person's case, they couldn't do that. They were a QA analyst, and they didn't have the ability to write Selenium scripts and didn't have the necessary permissions on the company systems to do that stuff. So here's the way to do that. The way to do that is to paste the markup into Tenon. Obviously, first you have to log in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll walk through this right now. I'm going to log into Twitter. I don't have anything special here, so just my own Twitter feed. So I'm logged in here, and now there's a way I need to work to get this. The way I need to get to this markup is to go to Chrome's DevTools. Now you can use any DevTools in any browser to do this. The important part is that you use DevTools, because if you used view source, so if I go here to, let me grab a different spot of the screen. If I go here to view page source, this is not the actual source that we want to test. This is the source that the server sends over, but the browser renders all the page assets with it when you get this. So this is the final rendered DOM. Of course, as we see here, there's new events that have taken place, but this is like a snapshot of the current view. So we can go here. I can click on this, and then I can go back over to Tenon. I paste this in here. Take a while to paste. There we go. All I did over there was right-clicked and copied. Lost my spot on the page. I can show all the options I want to use to test, but right now I'm just going to do Analyze Your Web Page. By doing that, that triggers the page to be tested by Tenon. It's going to analyze the page. That Twitter page is pretty big, so this is going to take several seconds to run. But it will finish analyzing the page and give us our results. Here we go, and there's our results. So that's super easy, huh? So this will test the entire page as you would see it, and it would test it with all of the necessary bits and goodies. Then there's another way, and this is actually, in my opinion, the most powerful way to do this type of testing with Tenon, which is to test just a portion of the page. And this is what's really cool about DevTools. So testing the entire page is fine if your intent is to test the entire page, but you're probably working in a situation where you already know that there are some issues that exist on the page. So let's say, and again, I have not actually done anything with this, but let's say this search Twitter didn't have a proper label, and this little thing here didn't have a proper alt attribute, and you already knew this. You worked with the site many times, but what you really want to do is you've been working on this little part here, this little who to follow. So we're going to go over here to DevTools, and we're going to click on this little guy here on the bottom left. It's got this tooltip here. It says select an element on the page to inspect it. So I click that, And as I go over the different parts of the page, it hovers over and turns this blue. So this one is what I want to look at. It's got this tooltip here that says div.flex module. And when I click that, it actually highlighted that little div here in DevTools. And it's closed by DevTools, but if I open it up, I'll see it's got all my stuff. This is really important because this is powerful. I can test just this part of the page, and I copy, and I come over here and I paste it, and I paste it in, and there's all the markup. Now I want to do a couple of other options here. I'm going to open my options, and I'm going to modify some of these by saying that I want to test it for WCAG AA, just playing around here. And then I'm going to hit Analyze My Web Page. So now what's happened is I've tested only that little portion of the page, and I see that I got no errors on that portion. So that's really cool because when you have a page as big and long and complex as the Twitter page, and most of it is very repetitious content like these guys here, it's hard. It's really hard to sort of narrow down all the garbage that you tend to get sometimes. So analyzing just pieces at a time is really powerful, especially if you, like I said before, you already know all the goodies. So anyway, that's testing, grabbing content from the DOM and testing with getting that information from DevTools. And there we go. Thanks.